Hi, good evening. I'm MJ from Lioness Publications, and we're just going to do a short session on Bryan Kohberger. That's the killer that murdered the four Idaho students a few years ago. So we're going to look at his natal chart. We're also going to look at his transits, because I just want to bring up a few points. You might find it interesting. So let's take a look at his natal chart. Now, the first thing you notice is in the green, I have circled certain planets and identifying the type of angle they have with either the red or the orange line. If it's red, it's a square. If it's orange, it's an inconjunct. So I want to point out first that he has both Sun, Pluto, and Jupiter pretty much all conjunct, meaning they're in the sort of same space. So Sun and Pluto can be very manipulative. You want control. And now we have Jupiter in that same space, and it literally adds to it. It makes it bigger, more gaseous. So that can be an issue. Now, we have in another section, we have Neptune and Uranus conjunct. So this is Neptune, your vision, sometimes fantasies, and Uranus here is going to add a little bit of unusual change. So this could indicate maybe some type of issues with mental health. Not necessarily, though. You'd have to, go through a lot of his, yearly charts to see, is there something here that hits at some point that would say, yes, we have an issue. Now, the next thing we see Mars, which is at 23 Leo. Mars is square to the configuration that happens to be in Scorpio, which is the Sun, Pluto, Jupiter. And Scorpio is one of the reasons that he has that look, that focused look, that look that sometimes looks and seems to be looking past you. So Scorpios can be known for that. It's intense. Now, Mars squaring here, the one I want to note specifically is it's squaring the Pluto. So as I've noted many times, whenever you look at charts, when you look at transits, when you look at any type of direction, progression, you're looking for angles, Mars to Pluto, Mars to Uranus, to see if there is aggression type of issues. And here we see actually both of these coming out. We see Mars in a square to Pluto. Doesn't mean he's like that, aggressive all the time. What it means is he has that inattention, and anytime something is touching that area, that Mars and, Pluto area, it could rile things up. And if, he was seeing, a psychologist, something like that, it's something they could probably identify. It would be better if they were seeing an astrologer too, because the astrologer could provide information on times that would be difficult. Now, on top of the Mars doing that square to Pluto, we also have Mars inconjunct, which is can't get there from here to the Uranus. So this is a lot of frustration here, meaning that if he wants to do things he can't, that Uranus piece he can't change. So again, it's something where there may be, there's stuff going on, and anytime this gets triggered by a transit, you would have some type of outward or inward type of activity happen. So now let's take a look at the transit for the time that we had the incident. And that happens to be on November 13th, 2022. Now, I know it's a busy chart, and we'll try to just touch on the things that I want to bring out here. So first, in the red, I have the Pluto area, and we can see that it is, we've still got that square in the natal chart to Mars. Now, I want to point out that the blue circle, is Venus. That's actually making a conjunction to the planets in the blue, in the red, and also squaring the Mars, which is in Leo. Now, Venus is something that comes around once a year, so it's not that would be unusual. However, the next thing we have is we have Uranus here coming up, and Uranus is actually in an it's an opposition to Mercury and also the North Node where you take in. Uranus is sudden, changes. Mercury, the way he's thinking. So it could be that maybe he was on meds at some point for some type of mental issues, or maybe he wasn't. But there was some type of change here. Now, let's take a look at the next one. And here we have Mars, which is in orange. It is making an opposition to the planets that we have here that are in red. So Mars is what? This is the aggression. So that's pushing that out. Okay. Now, next thing we have is we've got the green here. And this is actually a trine. And what this is, though, is Jupiter and Neptune. Fantasies blown out of proportion. And what that's touching on, unfortunately, is that Pluto area. So here we have an indication that maybe there's something that has been going on here that is part of a fantasy. And because of Jupiter, it has become, Jupiter being with the Neptune, it's just blown completely out of proportion. But unfortunately, what is it feeding? It's feeding the Pluto, which is the manipulation, the control. Now, one thing I don't have marked, which I need to note, is that Pluto, the transit at 26 Capricorn here, is also in conjunct to the Mars. So here we've got that Pluto-Mars, and that's important. We also have that Pluto sitting on what? Well, it's pretty much sitting on that Uranus, which is, in effect, the change in the natal. And Pluto is what? That manipulation, wanting that control. So we can see a lot of factors here building. And if an astrologer was looking at this chart, they will probably be saying, okay, maybe you need to go talk to someone. Again, astrologers are not doctors, we're not therapists, but we can see when things are building. And this is something that's building. Now, it doesn't mean that something would have gone over the edge. So we can see things in charts, but it doesn't say that, in effect, that's what's, we're going to have this murder or whatever. Some cases, you can see charts like this, and they belong to police officers. They belong to people that are in the military. Because you know what? They're dealing with this type of stuff every day. They're dealing with people that have psychosis. They're dealing with people that want to kill them. So this is two sides of a coin. So we can have angles like this that, end up being in people that have careers that deal with this, or we could have them show up in people that end up being on the other side of people that are meant to defend us. So that's the point, but I thought you might see that this is interesting. So hope you had a good day, and thank you so much for watching. Bye now.